Kimberly Jentzen, award-winning acting coach, director, and she's from Los Angeles, one of the most acclaimed and award-winning acting coaches in LA, author of Acting with Impact and Life Emotions app. Kimberly teaches living into your authenticity is an essential part of making an impression on being cast, working professionally, and finding your audience. Learn how to get out of your head and into your fearlessness for a more truthful production and performance. Kimberly's students have starred in major motion pictures as series regulars on television and on Broadway. Welcome, Kimberly.
Yay!
I can tell you've got some audience members waving at you. So what do you have for us today?
Gelsomia, Mina, I met you at the Actors Pro Expo. Yeah.
Twice, yeah.
No worries. I met you, I know you. In fact, I know a lot of people here. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Judith and Rebinder, I think I met you as well. Anyway, thank you so much. Today, what our theme is, remind me the theme again, Lisa.
Our theme is bringing, well, for you, it's more your real, because you teach realness classes. You teach getting down into the emotion and bringing it, putting it on the page and on the stage, right? So
yes, I love the way you said that. It had a nice alliteration. Get on the page and the stage.
Yeah, and
that's awesome, Lisa.
And we're a lot of my friends and are all screenwriters, and so we put it on the page. And
right, and we put it on the stage, or we put it in the sound stage, which is where we film things, and sometimes on location. Well, this is the beautiful thing about the work, and that is that, you know, we have these expressions of life, you know, and we do them well. And sometimes we don't do them so well. So like I've been studying performers recently, actually singers, because I have a lot of singers. And I think a lot of singing is about celebrating life. It's about teaching us how to celebrate life. In fact, the audience needs support on feeling. And that's why actors have to go there. Actors go there so that the audience can be brave. You know, we learn how to live and we learn how to die because of our movies. It's our stage performances or whatever it is, living into your fearlessness. So the actor's responsibility is to embrace the taboos and the challenges and the fears and the experiences that may or may not seem real, to find the truth in them. Because, you know, even they say fiction is, or nonfiction is more stranger than fiction, or you know what I'm saying. What's true is obviously sometimes more outrageous. And that's why Hollywood loves stories that are true, because they can be so outrageous. It gives them permission to actually go leap. When you say this is a true story, there's no questioning of the validity of the events. Though I like to write a lot of imagination stories. So
yeah, it's a little tricky with true stories though, because there's other people in them, and usually they're not seen in a bright light. Especially if people want to
change the names to protect them.
Yeah, change the names to protect the non-innocent or the innocent.
Right now, I'm deep in a script. In fact, I'm trying to hit this deadline, the script deadline, and a lot of it is based on my experiences. I mean, a lot, growing up, and it's really confronting, and people may or may not know. And I wonder sometimes, will I ever write a direct story about my personal childhood past and what happened in my life? And I don't know, it's easier to be a little less direct. I mean, I can find the story when it's not me. It's hard for me to find the story when it's me, but I'm sure there'll be a eventual. I had so many adventures. I mean, I've lived such an amazingly crazy, fun existence. So,
Well,
and
you wrote a book though about your emotional journey, right?
I've not written, I don't have a book yet, but my book is on acting with impact is for actors. It's about building the emotional range. It's about understanding how to break down a script. It's about owning the character. It's about playing the love and knowing how to play the love. It's such a general idea. And I teach actors how to release judgment. It's about, there's a lot of wonderful new tools that I've written. One is called The Root Question, and the other is fire in the communication. And like, for example, fire is sometimes you don't know what you want, but you know what you want to say. And it helps you create an edge for the character. Root question helps you go deep into the internal struggle. So all of these different tools that I teach in my book are for actors and also artists to help them. I mean, I've had a lot of writers read it and use the owning the character. I have 8 inquiries and 5 ownerships in this book that I'm doing a second edition. I don't know when it will be done though. So I can't say wait. I was saying wait, but now I'm saying no, don't wait, because it's taken me so long to get to, because I keep coming to stuff. I have a feeling the next book will be almost not this book. So if you really want this book, you should get this one, because the next one will be a new version where I take out whole sections that are valuable. I need what is it? I need more. I need space in the book. You can't give 500-page book.
Yeah.
So
especially nowadays, people's consciousness doesn't. They want shorter, quicker, right? They want to.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be shorter.
Well, that's why
real estate. That's what I said. There's just so many pages. The book is over 300 pages. And let me. Here's a book.
I show your book.
Yeah, this is the book, and it's like a full course meal. And there's a lot of notes in this one because I'm doing my second edition. And they're just I had a lot of breakthroughs in my craft as a teacher, and I've come to a lot of depth. Now, I wrote this 12 years ago, and I was deep then. Hopefully, people have always said I was deep. I've been teaching since the late 80s, over 30 years. And it took me 6 years to write this book. So, and I don't let anybody, I'm a writer, so nobody touches the words but me. So that's why it's taken longer. Some of my colleagues, they'll have collaborators and blah, blah, blah. You all know what happens.
Energy.
Sorry?
It changes the energy. If somebody else gets, if you're putting something from a certain dimension on the page, and that has you in it. And then if somebody comes back and changes a couple words, they can literally change the energy that you're trying to portray.
Well, that's wonderful. Sometimes I have an editor who's wonderful, Serena Tarika. If anybody needs a really good, amazing, she's ghostwritten books, but she's also great at giving critiques or giving you notes. The notes. She's the best note giver I've ever had. And she helped me with this. She will email me, this doesn't make sense, or clarify this, or blah, blah, blah. And then of course I will take the notes. It's great direction. You need direction.
Well, yeah, but you're still.
Yeah, but I'm still the
creator. You didn't send it off to a big publisher and next time you see it, it's printed, right?
Yeah, not this book. Maybe another book down the line, a novel or something. I'll have
published. Leave that one open for.
Sorry, Lisa.
We'll leave that open for your success, broad success.
Yeah, I love writing. I've been writing all my life. I was a poet when I was a young woman. So anyway, yeah. Do you want me to read an excerpt?
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want?
It's your time.
Well, there's a really interesting section in here that I never talk about, and it's so valid. And let me just read this to you because it's how actors become artists. And a lot of actors are See, this is the beautiful thing about our work. You could be an entertainer, that's great, and that's still an artist. But there's a transition, there's a transformation from being somebody who just wants to get under fives to actually doing something that inspires your audience. So one mentality is, what can I get from the business? And the other is, what can I give as an artist? And the giving is where you want to live artistically. You don't want to get something. This business doesn't serve you that way. It doesn't serve people that want to just take. Those are takers. People can feel it.
There's circles. Like they might get into this circle, but they won't get into the higher level circles. Like when I was in Waterworld, I was one of the, there was 500 extras, but I ended up in the inner circle. So when I was up there with the main top 5 people in the inner circle. So you won't get in the inner circle if you have that attitude. You have to have the attitude. You'll be
it's just not intelligent for being an artist. Artistic intelligence. What makes sense? Listen to actors. Like another piece of advice for everyone is to go on Variety. What is it? Actors on Acting on Variety. They have a series, and listen to them talk to each other. Do you have those kind of conversations? Because it's a very intelligent conversation they have with each other. They're talking shop. Also, my YouTube channel, I should mention, I have interviews with my students who are working. And I have another one coming up, Mike Rad, who's done over 30 movies. He has another one coming out. He was in American Splendor, all the way across the board. He's worked with me for a long time. He's a lovely, lovely actor. I did a Q&A with him. And as soon as I'm done with my script, I'll have my editor in, and we're going to cut it and put it up. But this is the little spiel, and I'm going to give it to you. It's very short. The artist is the rebel who relinquishes any pre-existing superstitions or comforts to transform through a series of alchemies in which they find their voice and essence in expression. I'm going to explain this because I don't know if people, because it's hidden. I
have to read it again.
And it's a little piece of poetry here. And by the way, it is in italics. It's all by itself. The rest of the writing is very easy to grasp. Like here's a little paragraph. Going for the depth is bringing it up to expose it. You'll be dropping under the surface and showing what is there. Under the surface is where the raw honesty lives and permeates. What sits underneath is often very well hidden from others and sometimes even from ourselves. When we go inside, we discover what is real. That moment of exposure is what happens when acting comes alive and becomes interesting. So I teach you how to do it in the book. But this little section, I want to explain it because I bet people have the book here. In here. And I wonder if you wonder about this. The artist is the rebel. Okay, so that means you're a little rebellious. You're not just thinking that I'm going to conform to everything and then I'll book something. Conformity is just boring. So here we have 30 actors up for the same role. And if you're going after that scene and you're reading that scene and you're thinking, what do they want? I'm going to do what's on exactly. I'm not going to take any risks. In fact, I so don't want to take risks. I'm going to just kind of try to be just so. I had an actress tell me, I'm trying to be authentic with this read. I go, is as authentic for you boring? Because there's no honesty in this thing that you're doing. It feels safe and it feels like you're walking this line. You're walking this line of I won't take a risk and I don't want to look bad. I just want them to like me. Well, liking you doesn't inspire us to hire you. Yeah. What inspires us to hire you is you being inspired with what's on the page. Now you're going to be honest with what's on the page. You're going to look at it and go, what's there and how can I live into this? And how can I take it even further? How can I actually take a risk? I was thinking about today, at the end of my dad's life, there's fear there. There's like, where am I going? And it's natural. Well, if you don't face your fears in life, how are you going to face your fears in death? And I write this in my script. You have to be willing to go to daring places so you can live more fully. So the artist is the rebel who relinquishes any pre-existing superstitions or comforts. Okay, so you're relinquishing your prejudices, and what your tribe might have told you to be afraid of. So tribal law in life is, prejudices. Like right now we're dealing with Black Lives Matter. Well, there's a lot of people that were told a lot of bad things so that they don't trust people. A lot of people told bad things about the cops. They don't trust them. Listen, we have to get rid of all this judgment. I trust all ethnics. I trust cops. I trust everyone because I'm going to come from my heart and I'm going to trust them. Why not? I mean, I've been so trusting that I've gone up to a cop at one point, and of course I'm a white girl, so maybe this is entitlement. And I've asked them questions, and I've even asked them for a ride once, and they gave it to me. So, but it might be white men entitlement. So please erase that if you need to.
Law of attraction, though, because if you're at a lower dimension and you think they're going to get you, and you run that thought a lot, I would not go up to them. Because you're literally creating that reality in your future. But if you believe people are good and you love people and people are just people, we're all God in body. It doesn't matter what color it is or what sex it is. Then
I agree with you. When I was
who have that same attitude, they're going to be loving, kind people because you're creating your future.
I have to say I was set up for this too. When I was very, very young, my mother was very, very ill. So I was out of the house a lot, just being out of the house. So as a very little person, we're talking 4, 5, 6, I had no choice but to trust. And I think I had an angel over me because I was very lucky out in the world. So, and I was smart, kind of. I don't know. I was lucky. Moving on, who cares? I want to get back to this.
Well, I want to point something out to people. At the beginning, Kimberly was a little bit on this dimension. And then when you go into teaching, damn, Kimberly, you went, wow, my higher self here. And I'm going to tell you guys this.
I want to tell you something that I recently learned, because I'm also a human of meditation and spirituality, and I have my master's in spiritual psychology. I've learned what purpose is. Is anybody wondering what their purpose is? I learned actually from studying. I've been listening a lot to Marianne Williamson, and I realized that purpose is when you are giving your love. So where do you give your love? That's your purpose. So if you give your love in your acting, that's your purpose. If you give your love in people, that's your purpose, is to be a loving person who gives to people. Wherever you find your love is where your purpose lives. And it made so much sense because obviously I give my love to not only I love people, but I also love this work, the art. I mean, it's so rewarding, you guys, on a spiritual level. When you study acting, I tell actresses, you have to expect your life to change. Even when you go in nature, the appreciation rises. I mean, everything lifts because you've been studying your internal life as well. And then you see how you are in nature. So anyway, just to finish up this little spiel here, the artist is a rebel who relinquishes any pre-existing superstitions or comforts because it's comfortable to fear others. It's comfortable to not trust. It's comfortable. It's not safe to trust. It's not safe to be in the world, but it's the only choice we have because we only truly live there. So relinquishes any pre-existing superstitions. So the artist is a rebel who relinquishes any pre-existing superstitions or comforts to transform. You're going to transform through a series of alchemies. You're going to alchemize, in which you find your voice and your essence in expression. So your voice is your part of your essence. And so the voice and the essence will be, so the highest form of acting is really when we don't really see, we see the transformation occur. And that's how characters are born. You know, we look at Meryl Streep's face. If we were to take apart the parts of her face, we wouldn't see anything of any uniqueness. But when we see her work, we see that transformation of voice and essence and expression. Same with Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, same with Al Pacino, same with Kate Winslet. I just saw a film last night, pieces of a woman. My gosh, I forgot her name. Vanessa, help me out. She's incredible. Or,
I don't
you know,
remember.
the Queen's Gambit. I
Oh,
got to memorize all these new actresses' names. They're amazing
Queen's
because they are bringing the work even further forward bringing it into the work.
Well, that's expansion, right? The universe is expanding, so it always gets better. But the opposite is also true. Because it's duality, so it's contrast, so you can align with it's always getting worse, because it is. But I'd like to align with it, or I choose to align with it's always getting better, because that's the direction I'm going. And this little clip that you just did, when I send you the recording, you might want to edit that down and stick it right on your book page.
Oh, thank you. I will. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Yeah.
You know, I want to tell you something. Michael Chekhov, I studied all the techniques, Meisner, Adler, Uta Hagen, Strasberg, Chekhov. I worked at American Conservatory Theater, UCLA, American Center for Musical Theater. I'm a triple threat. And I still do sit-ups every day, keep my core strong. One of the things that I learned from Michael Chekhov is that, who was such a spiritual teaching. And he's no longer with us. He passed in the 50s, way before I was born. But George Stanoff was a wonderful, wonderful teacher who kept going with he was a partner with Michael, and I studied with George. And he said that, Michael said that the essence of love, the definition of love is expansion. When you love, you expand. And I learned this at a very young age. I was in my mid, or early 20s. And I remember seeing it in the world and seeing, well, if I go somewhere and somebody says they love me, but they don't expand towards me, then it's not true. And I learned what love is through acting, really. I mean, I fell in love, obviously, when I was a young girl, but way before I started teaching, I understood that love. But when I wanted to recognize it from others, I needed to see it in the world. I wanted to understand who loves me. I looked for who expands to me. Am I only the one expanding? Am I the only one reaching? Because I'm very, what is the word? Always in life, always been very high energy. But who's expanding to me? And that was a great lesson for me, a great growth point. And it also helped me greatly as a foundational axiom in my work.
Well, it depends on every dimension too, because if someone's on a low dimension and they just look at you, that could be as far as they can expand. But if they're on a higher dimension and they hug you, it's just like, it just depends where they're at.
By expansion. Are you the only one making the phone call? Or are they reciprocating? Are they reaching too?
Oh, are they coming back?
When you say, I want you to meet my mom and dad, do they say, I want you to meet my mom and dad? Or do they offer? Do they say, hey, I want you to meet my parents? I remember, I don't want to go into dating things, but I remember when I was a kid and one guy wanted me to meet his parents too soon. And I was like, oh no, it's too soon. It's like, that's the other aspect of it, timing, and how that expansion works. And then there's there's a beautiful reality that there is a thing, what I have in my next book, or my third book. I don't know what second book it's going to be this year, but once I'm done with this second edition, which hopefully will be by June, I already wrote another book, and I want to go into now. I needed time. I wrote it back in 2006. It's called The 16 Primal Journeys. And it's about the different journeys we go on and in life, and how sometimes some of these journeys are not pro-survival, and that we have to have a transformation in our lives to actually visualize ourselves moving out of it. One is, I don't want to go into it because then people want the book, but long story short, I knew I needed time before
Kimberly.
What?
Wanting.
Oh, yeah.
Audience wanting. I would put your book, Acting with Impact 2, Roman numerals 2.
That's such a good idea.
And then people will want one because they got two, right?
Anyway, this other book, what I want to finish up is, it's so deep. It's so, it's very empowering. And I teach essence courses with the book. So everybody that's done the essence has gotten the book. So because they, it comes with, it's the materials. But this particular, and it's about moving through the fear that's been keeping you from fully playing. It's about fear and courage. It's really intense. But I just knew that I needed more time to finish it. I knew I needed probably 20 years of life to get this one finished. But I will, it might not be 20. If I wrote it in 2006, it's like 15. So it's 15 years. It'll get done by the end of the year, hopefully. I hope that's the one.
Kind of been my journey, because I wanted to bring enlightened consciousness into the entertainment industry when I was in Waterworld in 94. That's when I got, I want to do this. And then it was reinforced when I went to Singapore, and all the little girls were Googling over a Waterworld poster. And I was like, I can reach the world through the entertainment industry.
That's really awesome. I'm thinking,
so this has been 30 years, 25 years.
This is what I want to do in the 90s, give actors these life emotion cards. That they need cards. Emotions and definitions, and then exercises to help build the emotional range. And you're thinking of peace. You're so big, Lisa. I love that about you.
I want people to understand that they're not humans.
Their souls having a human experience. I want to acknowledge Lisa right now to everyone in the group. I come here because I love this woman. She has been so amazing to me, and helpful and generous, and she has such a depth and such a talent for her work. And so this is my second visit, and I'm just going to keep coming like I'm a Saturday Night Live 3-timer, 4-timer, 5, because I just love Lisa, and I love being in her energy. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a shout out. Whatever she's doing, I'm following.
Oh, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. I was thinking, thought, when you get these new thoughts and you're feeling good, it's your source energy. And today I thought, I got, podcast. So I think I might be repurposing these and put them on podcast.
That's great.
Because I want to get a lot of attention to the Entertainment Visionary Leaders Conference, because it's not something simple. It's like you've been teaching for years, bringing that depth out of you to the world. And that's what I want to bring through. And a lot of people write horrors and stuff, and it's just not. I like science fiction and stuff like that, but some of the horror stuff, actually, if you're on a low dimension and you see a horror movie and the people live, it actually helps them move forward. Because they're on such a low dimension, they feel better because they're not in that bad a shape as the person on the horror movie. So everything is created to help people move forward, but I'm not attracted to that level. I'm attracted to.
Listen, some people here might not feel like they're evolved at all. So it doesn't matter. I have a saying, and that is, I just became a saying. I just said it this week. You don't have to be prepared to make progress. You will make progress.
You have to be a master to be on this planet.
You just have to show up.
Yeah, if you're on this planet, you're a master. This is.
So, what I'm saying is just, you have to show up. You want to show up for the work, whether or not you're prepared for it. Whatever you're doing, you want to show up.
And what's the work to you? What do you consider the work?
The work, well, the work is, there's different work things. Whatever your goal is. If you want to be a pianist, you got to do your scales. If you want to be an actor, you got to go to class. If you want to be spiritually evolved and rise out of some of the
muck.
Yeah, the muck that we all, by the way, all of us get in the muck. It's just really a pain in the butt. But if we want to rise above it faster, meditation and spiritual, doing a spiritual practice, I think is essential. I tell my actors, in class, if they're having like lots of rough patches, because you will as an actor, you get thrown all over all over. It's almost like people
realize that.
Success can be a tsunami. You have to be able to ride it like you're a surfer.
I think people think in general that, oh, actors they just walk out there and do their thing, and they don't really realize how much the actor has to go through to bring that to the world.
Listen, I just yesterday spoke with one of my students who's in this, she's a star of a series that's coming out. And I can't talk about it because it's all under wraps until the PR comes out. And the next day, she's very, I'm playing with stuff here. Put it down. The next day, she we spoke, and when she just came back, and she said, it's so, after being on set, after living the dream, and you come back at the end of that, nobody knows yet. And there's I have a thing called Surviving Success on my YouTube channel. It's it's a video on it. There's that crash. Mm-hmm. I remember when the first time I was in a play, and then they said, oh, they're striking the set. And they said, you want to come help strike the set? And I went in there and I started to break it down. I started weeping. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't want the show to be over.
That's like
that all the way through.
I experienced that at Waterworld. I was there for like 6 months off and on, and they were floating barges in the ocean, and they were $1 million a barge at the time, and I guess NASA made them, and they hooked them all together, and we ran around on them, and they were all rocking.
That must have been so much fun doing Waterworld. I can't imagine.
It was fun, but
did you have to wear those weird ears?
No, I had the machine gun.
Oh, lucky you. You got to hold it.
I had the oily hair. I was a smoker. I was all oiled up. And anyway, when it was over, I felt that, and then I thought, well, maybe that's how people feel when they're with a corporation for a while, and then if they love their job and the corporation leaves, or they leave the corporate, because there's this community, you're part of this community, and then all at once it's over, and it's like a whole world.
It's a family. You create a family on set. It's a family, and then you have to go. You know, I'll tell you something. A lot of relationships in the business can be transitory. I mean, I have had some of my name actors become very close to other celebrities, and they'll text every now and then, but it's not like it was on set.
No,
you have that golden moment. So the reality is how do you live your life, and how do you create the bonds that are going to carry you through your life? I have very, very close friends. I'm very, very good circle of lifelong friends, and I thank God for them, because like it's can be very hard. I mean, like even any of the shoots that I've done, it is a love fest, and then you get off. Like I remember coming off the Mountain of Rain after that film, and it's like you've hit a pinnacle in your life, and then it's done. Hey, why did Ben Corey say, remind me to stay on your good side? What is that?
Probably because I had machine gun, was talking.
Oh.
It was rubber.
Got it.
They offered me a real one.
She seems so sweet, but when she brings up the machine gun.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, so the thing is when you're aligned with your higher self, you don't have those dips. It's like if you're externalized, oh, I'm an actor and I'm in this show, or as Cindy was talking about, I'm on a stage and I'm a singer and I'm feeling all this energy coming to me and through me, and I'm feeling really great. And then you step off the stage and you have this dip because you haven't quite integrated. And when you're integrated, you're still present because you have your source.
Okay, I have two questions about that. First of all, I love the idea of being integrated. I don't know if I am. And then the second question,
when you came forward earlier and said bluff, I was like, oh my God.
Integrated. I mean, integrated in, I still have, the swings. I feel like if I don't have the high lows, then how am I gonna have the highs and the highs and lows? But I do know this.
So your lowers are you still have a little dip, but it's like instead of going,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
right,
Okay, I get it.
you're dipping a little, but you're at a higher, and then you dip in a little, and then you dip a little less.
I also love this concept, and that is to not be so impressed with your highs and your lows, because euphoria can be also a form of sabotage. And so, you know, if you're so and you're on set, you're not going to be able to focus. So you have to set that thing aside. So I feel like there's this word that I love to use, and that's stoicism. Being a little stoic, where you're not so much, and I have to tell actors this, by the way, that are on set even, you're not so excited, and you're not so impressed with where you're at, and you're also not so depressed at where you could go or whatever. In other words, even if you're low, you get a little stoic about it. Like, it's almost like, I have a good definition of it. I don't know if my phone's around here. Here it is. I also have an app. It's only for the iPhone though. And it's called, and the reason why is because it's a long story of why we ended up just doing the iPhone, but it's emotions. It's right there. Life Emotions. It's called Life Emotions. And it has exercises, and it has a journaling tool. And in here, I'm going to look up for you guys in the glossary, stoic, because there's a good, I like this. I wrote it. I don't mean to be very like in my own writing, but unaffected by pain or pleasure. So you can do your gig. I mean, you might go into a job that you don't like right now. And if you could be a little stoic about it, like, you know, maybe you have a desk job, or you're going to get it done quick and move out. If you don't take it in the deep as, this is so, just don't go to that pain shit. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
Go to, I didn't get
it's law of attraction. So if you're hanging out in the pain shit, the universe is like a computer. It's not judging. So if you're running, I hate this, it's yucky. The universe says, oh, okay, give them more, hate it, yucky, give them more, hate it, yucky. But if you go, oh, this is just where I'm at right now, and I know it's getting better, and you leave your level a little higher, then you'll get the universe will reflect that back to you. Here's something better. Here's something better.
Well, that's the really great mechanics of the spiritual thing that I'm saying, that Lisa's backing up this idea with the spiritual reality of it. But if you can be unaffected by sometimes the things that you have to do. I have they're saying I have, and that is, what is it? Doing what you don't want to do. You're going to have to do what you don't want to do sometimes.
What about nudity?
doesn't mean
What do
you're
you tell them about nudity?
Oh yeah, no, you're not going to go out integrity. You're going to keep your integrity. That we're not talking about that.
It's funny because when I was younger, I would have never done nudity. And now if I had the body that I had then, I'd do nudity.
Yeah.
You look back and you go, hey, that, you don't judge it.
It's so funny. Yeah, I still wouldn't do nudity. That's just not me.
Well, I wouldn't do it all nudity, but partial. It's just like, I wouldn't do cigarettes.
No, neither.
But
yeah, and in those days it was a taboo to even talk about tampons, so I wouldn't do those either. Here we go. But the whole stoic is the whole definition is more than that. So every time there's a semicolon, it's a different definition. So the first stoic is austere. The next one is repressing feelings. And that's not what I'm saying. And the next is exhibiting no emotion. That's not what I'm saying. And then the next one is non-reactive. That's not what I'm saying. But the one I like here for this particular definition is unaffected by pain or pleasure. So I think it's beautiful because there's times when you're going to be on set so ecstatic, and some of you guys are going to take this with you. Go, wait, I can't go too far because if I let all that in, I won't be present. One of my students, now way before I had this realization, way back in the 90s, I had an actress I'll never forget. She was on, I think, NYPD Blue, and she called me up and said, Kimberly, I'm supposed to like cry in the scene, and I just fell in love. What do I do? And so I helped her. I worked her through it. But if I had just that, just don't be euphoric. Click, let that click over to the other thing. Just for, all you need is 10 minutes to do it.
Yeah, but you gotta, I mean, you're teaching mastery, emotional mastery, because
Yes, I am. And focus and concentration is really important.
first people have to know that they can control their emotions.
You can't always control an emotion, but you can motivate it.
Yeah.
And you can motivate not feeling it. You can motivate feeling it. So that's a really good, valid thing you're talking about, Lisa. Oh, I want to tell everyone on my YouTube channel, there's a video called Concentration and Falling in Love. And it has 9 concentration tools on it. So on the, little spiel underneath the video. So definitely if you have focus and concentration issues, watch the video, do the exercises. It's free.
And the thing I want to also tell people is when you're on set, it's different because
oh God, yes. That's why you need
in your life, you can think, oh, I can act this and I can do that. But when you get on set, you have other people that you admire or you've seen, and the set is higher. When I walked in Waterworld, I was a psychic then too, and they put this set, they brought in all these 40-foot containers, like 100 of them, because it was nothing on the island, so they had to ship everything in. And they were on lava, and there was like a gate, like a security. They had a really high security. And when I walked through the security thing, it was like I was walking through a bubble. I went, whoa, the first time I did it, because they brought this whole Hollywood in, and it was a totally different bubble than the Big Island. It was like a whole different mindset bubble. And so you literally could feel it when you walked through the gate into that mindset reality. And it was like, oh, I'm on a different world. Even when I'm behind the set, I'm still, where they're parking their cars, but you could feel it. And
it's called production.
Well, it's a group mind. Their mind was on a different level. People on the island are thinking about, I'm growing coffee and I'm growing Mac nuts. I mean, it was a whole different, and people in Hollywood were thinking about, I'm making this giant multi-million-dollar production, right? So it's a whole different group mind field. And when you're in that field,
well, you know what it is, Lisa?
Huh?
What it is it's I'm about to speak to the entire world with my project. My project's going to reach millions.
Yeah.
And there's this higher level, it's knowing that there's a line in the community of a consciousness. Yeah, group mind field. That's right. Someone just said, Judith Van Prague.
Yeah,
yay.
It's not.
Yes, it's a group mind field. Yes.
It can be a mind field. But it's like
that we are creating something bigger than us. It's also this, I have a feeling it might be the same thing as this, what soldiers feel in the field with each other. I know that sounds funny, but
no, because it's this group, and then
we are going to save our country.
And so these things my point was, so these things that are in you that aren't aligned, so you can do the part at home. But when you get in that field with all these other high level, your energy is different. And you're going to have different emotional stuff come up you might not be ready for. And that's what Kimberly's talking about, her cards and her app help you with.
The energy will invade you. It will invade you. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And you'll find yourself either leaning in or falling back. I had an actor once fall back and called me up and said, I don't know. I was on set, I was shooting. And he felt himself fearing and pulling away. This is way back in the early days. And I learned to teach actors a little differently so that they don't do that, so that they lean in. It's so funny becoming an acting teacher, doing it for so many years. There is a difference between a new teacher and a veteran teacher who's been doing it. It's profound because we've been in the field. It's like war. It really is out there in the field. And we've been in the field, you know, can't speak for the other teachers, but I've seen pretty much everything there is to see.
Well, you were
And
an actor first too, weren't you?
I acted for many, many years. Yeah. I was on a soap opera and I was Fabergé spokeswoman, and I did some horror movies, speaking of which I wouldn't even
They
go to
were
see. I was
fun.
so terrified of them.
They're fun to act in though, when we had the
I think one of them I saw.
scene, like I didn't know, and I took my daughter to the set and she was like 3 and everybody had machine gun holes. I'm like, oh my, they were
Back in the day, that was how you made it in the business. You broke in either through soap operas or horror movies, and I got in both of them. So, but then I quickly I didn't like what was being offered me. I was always playing 16, 15 years old. And I felt like by the time I was 25 years old, I felt like I was way beyond being a 25-year-old, being a 16-year-old or 15-year-old. I mean,
well,
I
you
didn't want to
look really young though.
Thank you. So I didn't want to play. I don't want to keep being 15. I needed, I remember being on set going, and I think I have this in my book at the very beginning. I have an intro. And I remember being on General Hospital and a voice came to me, whatever it is, this isn't it. I said, oh, really? What is it? And nothing came after that. Whatever it is, this isn't it.
Well, it did come.
No, I'll tell you when it came.
Teacher, right? So
I taught.
yeah.
The voice came back and said, Kimberly, this is it. And then I quit after that first day of teaching. It was August 8th, 1987. I just said, I called my agent, said I found it. And that was it. I left. All my friends I had a lot of friends that were mad. Later, they ended up studying with me. Some of my best friends that were like, I can't believe it. How dare you?
Well, you had that in your toolbox though. See, we go through things in our life that we're putting them in our toolbox until we find our thing. And in your toolbox, you said you studied psychology.
Oh, later, when I was, that wasn't for years later, 20 years later, 15 years later, I got my MA in spiritual psychology.
What did you want to be
a
in?
master's in something. So I studied.
What did you want to be in high school?
An actor. And I didn't think there was anything else. And also I wanted to dance and sing, and I did. I was at the music center, I sang a lot. And I think my first gig, I don't remember how old I was, maybe 11, maybe 13, was singing. That was the first time I got paid. So singing was like, I was in all the top singing groups. And my family, I come from a family of musicians. My sister plays like a lot of instruments. And I don't remember how many. And I could play the guitar and piano. So it was just a natural for me to sing. And at UCLA, I got some concerts and stuff, got asked to do concerts and stuff.
Do you have any on YouTube with you singing?
No, I sang for my dad's funeral though. I sang a song a cappella for him. That was crazy because I hadn't sung publicly in 30 years. But I do, one of my old accompaniment, I had a show at Vine Street Bar and Grill. That was one of the last things I think I did was I sang and acted and did poetry at the very end. I think I might've been even 30 because I kept working until I was 30. I did a movie when I was 29, 30 as well. And even though I was teaching, I was, things are like, there's a ripple effect. You throw a stone in the water and so you keep doing it until it runs out, until I was no longer, and I hadn't auditioned really after that. I was getting offers and stuff. So long story short, he sent me a VHS of one of my shows. It's sitting over on my table. Maybe at some point I'll transfer it into digital and I'll put it up. Who knows?
Oh, that's cool.
When I was 20 something, 23 or 25.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So what do you teach in your acting classes? What are they called? Because I've been sending people the link to your
acting,
What do
I
you
start with a foundation, and I teach, basically I develop actors. I help them, and my techniques are a combination, or I stand on the shoulders of the giants of Stanislavski. I don't teach the method. I don't teach, I think sense memory is just a resort that you need if you at the last minute, but I teach imagination work. So you build your focus concentration so that you're not dependent on having a bad day to feel. And so that you can be more spontaneous and authentically connected to the script, the material, what's on the page, and your essence in expression. I have all different levels. I teach a Friday class, which is the foundation. I think all actors need a foundation. If they don't have their foundation, they have nothing to stand on. And then I have intermediate class on Tuesday mornings. And then I have 2 master classes because I get a lot of advanced students that have been working in the field and all my life. So I have a Wednesday night for the people that are in LA, and then I have a Thursday morning for the people in Europe, and people in Hong Kong can come to the Wednesday. I have things for different people all over the world, and I didn't realize it, but now I have a lot of students from all over the world, all the way from Norway to Germany to Italy to England to Hong Kong, everywhere, to San Francisco to New Jersey and Chicago, Texas, Florida. And then, of course, one of my students lives around the corner from me, and we still Zoom right now because of the COVID. But eventually one class, I'll probably have one live class here in LA. But most everything's going to stay on Zoom, because the neat thing about Zoom is you really are able to work the close-up. And I can really see the eyes of the actor, as opposed to when you're in a class and they're doing a scene, you're looking at profiles. And often I've gotten up and looked to see what's going on and connect to the work and where to build the performance. And now with Zoom, it's just become really amazingly an advantage to an acting coach. And all my colleagues say they're not going back, but I want to, because I love the theater too. I love group environment, even though my class is known as a film acting class. I teach film actors, TV actors. I also have some actors that have been on Broadway and are and continue to be. So, acting to me, if you want to know the difference between stage and screen, I do have 2 videos on that on my YouTube channel, stage versus screen, and what you have to do and what I call theater actors to do always so that they become film actors.
Well, Kimberly, this has been fun and enlightening, and I still want to do a class with you.
I'd love it.
And I think maybe even bringing emotional depth to regular people, because it helps them if they know how to act and get to that core. It doesn't matter what they're doing, even if they're in corporations or whatever, it's going to help them in their life move forward. So.
It's my second book is about that. It actually speaks to all artists and humans. Thank you, Lisa, so much. I'm so grateful that you call me in and we do these Sunday things. I really am honored, and I'm honored of who came today. Thank you for coming and spending this hour with me, and your interest in my work means so much to me. It means everything. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kimberly.